Eagles ran into some familiar faces today as they held their first joint practice with the Cleveland Browns. And all I gotta say is this: if I'm the Browns, I keep Deshaun Watson the hell away from Jalen Carter. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So the Eagles were holding their first joint practice with the Cleveland Browns, and if I was the Cleveland Browns, I'd keep Deshaun Watson the hell away from Jalen Carter. Even though there's no hitting, you know my man is capable of throwing an offensive lineman into Deshaun Watson because Jalen Carter is a beast. And I'll tell you something else. I gotta say this: Blankenship has that safety position on lockdown. He is definitely a starter. Another great practice for him, and so much more. And we're gonna get into it in a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, I just want to thank you so much for all the support you give to me. It truly means a lot. I really appreciate it. And just a reminder, we will be live streaming the Eagles again this week during the preseason game, so it should be a lot of fun. Now, before we also talk about the Eagles, there is some NFC East news going on. Couple big things are happening. First thing, the stinking Dallas Cowboys finally got off their hump and did something. Report: Zach Martin and Cowboys agree to rework 2-year contract over $36 million. Boy, the Cowboys are just buying their days, aren't they? They got so many free agents. They don't have a cap guy like Howie Roseman who could calculate the calculations of the cornbread. They're in trouble. But this is something they should have done. And I can tell you this with certainty: if that was the Eagles, there's no way Zach Martin would ever, and I mean ever, get to a point where he had a holdout. We don't allow that to happen. Not with Howie Roseman, not anymore. The other thing we got to talk about, and this will affect the Eagles perhaps week 1, because Zeke Elliott, old fat boy Zeke, is signing with the New England Patriots. Ian Rappaport says this: the Pound Patriots are expected to sign former Pound Cowboys star running back Ezekiel Elliott to a 1-year deal worth up to $6 million after his successful free agent visit earlier in camp. Per me and Tom Pelissero, I really never seen anybody do per me. Some backfield help for New England and a new home for Zeke, who plans to rock his number 15 from college. Well, we're going to see Fat Boy Zeke one more time. Somebody feed him the Twinkies. But I got to tell you, he's no longer a Cowboy. I got no problem with the guy. I hope he goes and he kills it in New England when he doesn't play the Eagles, only to make Cowboy fans upset that they let him go. I love when they're upset. So as always, before we start any of these training camp videos, we've got to talk about the injury report. So here's today's injury report for the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles injury report: will not practice Britton Covey, hamstring; Patrick Johnson, ankle; Quez Watkins, hamstring; limited Deion Kane, ankle. I've got to wonder, with the Quez Watkins hamstring, how much that's going to hurt him. It really opens up the gates for Oz. It really does, because now you have Oz getting an opportunity to get third-team reps, and or not third-team, but number 3 wide receiver reps, and this is big. I'm curious to see how long Quez Watkins is going to be out. Also, during practice, we've got to talk about an injury concern, something we have to watch. Landon Dickerson went into the tent during practice. Sua Opeta came in for him at left guard. Hopefully, this isn't anything big. Brandon Lee Gowton said this: Landon Dickerson just entered the trainer's tent, wasn't showing signs of pain. So that's good that he's showing those signs. Hopefully it's nothing big. Landon Dickerson's a big part of this team, no question about it. Now, I hate to say this too, but towards the end of practice, Jason KELCE went to the tent. Now, they're saying he wasn't limping and he seemed like he was okay, so maybe it's just precautionary. We gotta hope so. We can't afford to be losing these linemen. We definitely need these guys healthy. As far as practice was going, you know, Hurts comes right out. Let me tell you, Hurts was throwing some darts today. He was throwing some darts. He did start out with a great pass to Goddard. Then he comes right back, and he threw an interception that was picked off by Grant and Delpit. Deshaun Watson comes on the field, and then he throws an interception to Reed Blankenship, who we're going to talk about later on in this video. But I got to tell you, there was a great connection that you guys seen probably the video of A.J. Brown catching a bomb, going up and getting it. There was a couple other passes deep to DeVonta Smith, who was wide open. They said that DeVonta Smith could have had 2 more touchdowns, but those balls got underthrown. But DeVonta Smith, A.J. Brown, totally destroying the Cleveland Browns corners again. This is what happened to them last year. I don't know how any team is going to stop this trio. This trio is really, really good. How are you going to stop DeVonta Smith, A.J. Brown? Jalen Hurts has weapons. I think these guys are going to have monster years. Both of those guys looking really good today. And we also got to talk about Tyreek Cleveland. Tyreek Cleveland came off a really strong performance versus the Ravens in the first preseason game. Comes right back today. He's playing really, really good. They said he looks great. Had caught a bomb by Marcus Mariota, who I guess finally threw something accurate, but it got there. Tyreek Cleveland, another guy having a great training camp so far. And, you know, we got to wonder how far he is going to be rising up these depth charts. And really, that's what it's about today. I think it's about some of these depth charts because we have seen movement in the depth charts since the Ravens game the other night. I will say that according to what we heard at practice today, the defensive line of the Cleveland Browns was giving the Eagles' offensive line a run for the money. Now, maybe some of that had to do with injuries, I don't know. But at one point, Myles Garrett was beating Jordan Mailata, and then Myles Garrett himself went into the tent for the Cleveland Browns, so hopefully he's okay as well. But I can tell you this, the Eagles, especially DeVonta Smith, what a big day. A.J. Brown, big day. Jalen Hurts looked really sharp. Tyreek Cleveland, really good. The Eagles, they dominated the defensive backs of the Cleveland Browns. Now, as far as the Eagles' defense went, we had some really interesting things, okay? Reed Blankenship, he comes out, gets another interception. The kid has the starting safety spot on lockdown. You know he has it on lockdown. He ain't going nowhere. The kid he's our starter, no doubt about it. The other spot is going to be the question. And after Thursday's performance by Sidney Brown, who played late into the fourth quarter versus the Ravens, Sidney Brown was getting first-team reps today. And I think that he has definitely moved up the depth chart. So at one point, your starting safeties were Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship. This is what I'm expecting. This is what I want from the Eagles this season with the safeties. Unless you do some sort of trade for Jeremy Chin or something like that, I want your safeties to be Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship. You have 2 guys that can hit 2 heat-seeking missiles, and I'm glad to see Sidney Brown getting first-team reps with Reed Blankenship. As far as the Eagles' other defensive backs, I got to tell you, we have a good secondary, we do, but we may have an underrated secondary. You're going, what are you talking about, 500? Everybody knows about Slay and Bradbury and Avonte Maddox, but when you look at these other guys, the Jobs, the guys like that, the Eli Ricks, these guys are playing good. I think we have an abundance of wealth at the defensive back position. It's actually, I think, a position that may actually be underrated. I really like the secondary. And by all accounts today, the Browns wide receivers, Amari Cooper, or as we used to call him when he was with Dallas, Amari Pooper. They struggled. By all accounts, they struggled against the Eagles' defensive backs today. The Eagles' defensive backs were on lockdown. No doubt about it. Also, some interesting things. We had a Derek Barnett sighting today. What the hell is going on? Derek Barnett had a sack. Now, he kind of fell into it because Deshaun Watson, trying to get out of the way, turned and would have gotten sacked by him. But he did something nonetheless. Josh Sweat had a sack. This defensive line is nasty. This defensive line is really, really good. HASSON Reddick and Nolan Smith, both on separate plays, had separate sacks on Deshaun Watson. So the defensive line was killing it. And Jalen Carter, talking about moving up the depth chart, he was getting first-team reps. And at one point, this kid, we're talking about a beast. I said at the beginning of this video, I would keep Deshaun Watson away from Jalen Carter. I said that, and I meant it. I was trying to help the Cleveland Browns because they're going to need it. All right, Jalen Carter, he gets first-team reps. Get this. The guy goes out, gets first-team reps, right? Okay, so he gets the offensive lineman at one point, throws him, gets the running back, hits him in the backfield for a tackle for a loss. Very next play, he comes up, almost sacks Deshaun Watson. And then the last play of practice, Jalen Carter finishes it with a sack, getting a sack on Deshaun Watson. Jalen Carter had a beast of a day. And I think there's something to be said about confidence after that preseason game and what you saw happen. I think there's a lot of confidence with this kid growing. I think Sidney Brown, the same thing. So pretty good day for Jalen Carter. Good day for Sidney Brown. I think a good day for Jalen Hurts, and a great day for the wide receivers, and a great day for the defensive back. The only thing really negative to come out of today, in my opinion, is just you had the Landon Dickerson got injured, and then KELCE left early, although KELCE was talking after practice and doing interviews, so I think he's okay. I don't think it's going to be that bad of a deal. But the Eagles, by all accounts, I think a pretty good day on joint practices, and we'll be back tomorrow because you know what? We've got some more. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat, and remember, it's how we vision. We're all just living in it. People say, Philly, what are you saying? Why do you say Jalen Carter destroys people? Why do you say, Jalen Carter destroys people? Well, don't take it from me. Take it from Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox, after practice on Jalen Carter, said this. The biggest thing is seeing him go out there and destroy people. Pound Eagles. That's right, not hashtag pound. Destroy people. I can't help it. This dude is a wrecking ball. And if I was the Cleveland Browns, I would keep Deshaun Watson the hell away from him. Denzel Washington out.